All right, good morning, students. It's Thursday morning and it's chapel day, and you know how much we love chapel. But for us, we're sitting here on my back porch and it's Monday afternoon. You've been through one day of remote learning, and we hope that it's gone great for you. Sitting here with Mr. White, we're just going to call this Conversations with Dr. Brower and Mr. White. To begin with, Mr. White, is there anything you might want to just say to the students?
Yeah, I just want you to know that I love you, that I miss you guys. I'm thinking about you and praying for you.
Well, what do you miss most about not being at school right now?
That's easy. I think the thing I miss most is community. I went by the school the other night to pick up my guitar, and though I was in a familiar place, something just wasn't right. And you walk through the halls, and it's silent. It's quiet. There's no talking. There's no laughter. And I realized in that moment, I think that the one thing that we miss is you guys, the faculty and the students. And so I'm really looking forward to hopefully being with you guys again soon. What about you? What's one thing you miss?
Yeah. One of the things I absolutely love is to watch you all just hitting your stride in your lane, finding your groove, whether that's on the stage, on the athletic fields. And I kind of just been reflecting on the past semester. And one of the things that I absolutely love, it's kind of one of my highlights, is the winter concert. And this year it was called Is He Worthy, which I tell you, that song, it just kind of, I don't know, it just got me to my soul, and absolutely loved the song. But I loved how you sang it, and I actually want to talk about that song because there's a couple lines right there at the beginning, and I know you're thinking, wait, is he going to sing this? No, I'm not. So, nice try. But there are a couple lines there. The first, it starts out and it says, "Do you feel that the world is broken?" Yes, we do. And then it continues, you feel the shadows deepen, like it's pressing in, like it's just getting hard. And no doubt our world is feeling that press right now. But then the next line is awesome. It says, "But do you know that all the dark won't stop the light from getting through?" And then a few lines later it says, "It's good that we remind ourselves of this." And it's good that and I just want to sit in that for just a minute, because sometimes it feels like the dark, the difficulties are pressing in, but light always wins. And it reminds me back when I was in college and our soccer coach had taken us on a kind of an intense backpacking trip for 4 or 5 days, and we'd done rock climbing, rappelling. Well, we had done caving we'd been caving for probably about 5 hours, and underground. And I'm talking about not like bear caves, like these huge caves. I'm talking about like army crawls through mud, just like one guy can barely squeeze through. And we have headlamps, and at one point our coach said, "Hey fellas, give me all your flashlights." And he took all of our lights and he said, "Now come and find me." Well, we spent probably first 2 or 3 minutes just arguing how we were going to do this, and we spent the next 15 minutes just groping around in the complete and utter dark, trying to find our coach. And we finally, after 15 minutes, we found him, which was only he'd only gone about 50 feet. And we finally found him after we'd just been kind of figuring out how to get to him. And he struck a match, and he held up the match, and he said, as he held up the match, and he said, "Fellas, the light of Christ." And as he held it up, we could see every one of us. We could see our faces. And he said, "The light of Christ, which always dispels darkness." And then he challenged us, and he said, "And this right here is what I'm challenging you to be everywhere you go, to be the light of Christ to others."
That reminds me of something, I think in Matthew chapter 5, where Jesus says this. He says, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." I can't think of a better time to live this out than now. But this isn't new for us. This is something that we've been doing all year, and we've seen from our student body. And so, even when life gets difficult and we feel the dark pressing in, there seems to have just been this desire just to seek the Lord's face and to respond with grace and to imitate what we see here in Matthew 5 from the words of Christ.
Yeah, and absolutely. You know, as I'm again looking back on the semester, there's a pivotal moment in our school day in the first semester, and came late in the semester. And you remember we got the word that our beloved Coach Peterson got the word that he had a brain tumor. And do you remember how the students responded in that first prayer gathering, that prayer and praise gathering we had?
Absolutely. It was awesome. That early morning prayer and praise time was just wonderful. We really didn't know how many students would show up, but over 400 or so of you guys just showed up to just spend time dedicated to prayer and song. And it was awesome, that song that Lauren led us in, Defender. Just a real sweet moment, I think, for our year thus far, and it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, here's a great thing. We have a video of it. I think it's so worthy to just share a couple moments of that.
You have saved me, so much better your way. Hallelujah, great defender, so much better your way. When I thought I lost me, you knew where I left me. You reintroduced me to your love. You picked up all my pieces, put me back together. You are the defender of my heart.
So glad that we have that video to remind ourselves of how Christ worked in and through our student body, through you all. But Mr. White, do you remember, or what might be some of your vivid memories of when we were all in the gym and the students were presenting just tokens of love and appreciation to the Petersons?
Yeah, it was just such a great moment, I think, for our student body to just show such unity, such solidarity, and just oneness of purpose as they just sought to love and support someone that, to many of them, it's family. It's part of our Briarwood family.
Yeah.
But what about you? What do you remember most from that day?
Well, you know, I had the microphone in my hand, and I had just I'd invited any faculty that wanted to come around and support the Petersons by laying hands, praying over them. And literally, I thought maybe 8 or 9 people would show up. The teachers would come behind. And as I was talking to you, I finally turned around, and I had mentioned, hey, remember this picture? And I turned around, and I was blown away by the picture, because what I saw was almost every single faculty surrounding the Petersons, showing, again, the solidarity that you're speaking of, laying hands on him and praying over him. And I had to turn back around to you all because I was about ready to lose it. Just the Spirit just kind of overcame me. And then when I was praying, if you might remember, my microphone went out, and I'm like, Lord, I can't have my microphone go out now. And I lifted my head up for a moment, and the picture that I saw was you all, arms linked together, side by side, and you could have heard a pin drop. And I thought, these are some of my favorite moments at Briarwood, where we were all together for the purpose of rallying around, being the light of Christ for a family that was hurting. Just a beautiful Briarwood moment.
Well, you know, it's been like 5 or 6 months now. Have you seen Coach Peterson lately?
No, but I spent probably about 45 minutes on the phone with him. Probably about 4 or 5 days ago, we had about like I said, a 45-minute conversation. I wish I could share all the wonderful things that we spoke about. I haven't seen him since November. Yeah, it's been about 5 months, but I can't go into all that conversation. But I can actually do one better. Take a look at this.
Hey Briarwood, it's Coach Peterson and my wife, Mrs. Val Peterson, and I'm so excited to interact with you. And it's been a hard 5 months with everything going on, and we're grateful. My whole family's grateful to you for how you've treated us, just with the start of it, just the prayers. The notes that have just been great and kind and just wonderful to us. Our family's been very, very grateful for that. And then just the way you have just been generous to us, has been grateful. So thank you for everything that you've done, your family, our staff, and you. Truly grateful for that. Just to let you know, I was in the hospital for 2 months, which was a really long time, and then getting home was kind of hard over the time, getting through some things. And I say that just to let you know it was difficult. It wasn't easy. I was having to get back from a lot of things, but I want you to know that the way you did things really helped me go to God, even in a hard time, and trust Him and look to Him for all those things. And I need you to know that I'm thankful to you for the things that you did. I'm grateful for it, and got a lot of things to go forward, but at the same time, it's getting better. We're getting better news from our doctors, and I'm excited about that, and hoping that continues. But regardless, I'm trusting God. Our family's trusting God in times where it might be hard, it might go well, but God is faithful and it's been good to us. So it's been a good process in all those things. So, good.
Briarwood, just wanted to say too, I appreciate so much the way that you have loved our family, the way that you have loved Coach Peterson and myself and our children. I have just been so encouraged, and I felt so loved by all of you. Your prayers for our family, they have gone before us. They've been along with us and covering even behind us in so many ways. And just seeing your faith and the way that you have lifted us up before the Father has just been amazing. And I just appreciate so much the way that you have supported us in our tangible needs and as well as the prayers. And so thanks again. Our children have been blessed and have seen the body of Christ in action because of you and because of your love for us and care for us during this time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And she's been great in this time of taking care of me and our family. And it's been amazing. I wish we could see you in person today. I know it's a tough moment for everyone, just kind of getting through school and all that. And I want you to know this, that even in this time, coming through to this time, I would love to be there in person. But it's been hard to kind of take that in. But we're praying for you in that sense to learn well and how that's going. And I know some things you're not being able to take part of is tough, so we're praying for that as well. I know it's difficult, but I want you to know that we're praying for you and hoping to see you soon, because we want to, share some things with you going further. So it's been tough, but it's also been good, and some things that you guys and girls have done has been amazing. So again, we're so grateful for you, and we look forward to seeing you, and hope that this time is good for you. So obviously it's been a difficult ride at times, but it has been a great time to trust God in this difficult time. And He has been faithful in that. And we're grateful for all the prayers and giving and trust in God that you've done. It has been great. So thank you. And we'll be praying for you. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Wasn't that so good to hear from the Petersons, and just to hear of God's faithfulness and goodness to them, because they've been through some dark and difficult times, and yet to hear them speak of God's presence in their lives, which is kind of interesting, because like right now, the buzzword is social distancing, and like it should be, I totally get it, but quite the opposite of what they're testifying to, of God's presence and God drawing near and being with them in such a difficult moment. And for us, sometimes we get wrapped up in our current situations and how difficult things are and the moments that we're in. And yet when we study church history and scripture, what we see are saints over the years who have endured some really difficult things. And so students, you're part of the Briarwood family, but it's so much bigger than that. You're part of the family of God. And you're part of those saints who over time, over history have endured as they're literally are traveling from this life to the next. And my hope is that every single one of you are on that journey, that we're going to see you in heaven someday. And yet as we're passing through, there's a great song that reminds me of. It's called "For All the Saints." And I'm not so inclined to want to necessarily sing because that's not kind of my thing, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe we ought to sing that song for the students. What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
Thou wast their rock, their fortress and their might, thou Lord their captain, in the well-fought fight, thou in the darkness, drear their one true light. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, may thy soldiers, faithful, true, and bold, fly as the saints, nobly fought of old, and win with them the victor's crown of gold. Hallelujah, hallelujah. The golden evening brightens in the west, soon to faithful warriors come their rest. Sweet is the calm of paradise, the last. Hallelujah, hallelujah. But lo, there breaks a yet most glorious day, the saints triumphant rise in bright array. The King of glory passes on.